¿A dónde está papi? 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 ¿A dónde está papi?
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Tuesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Tuesday. Thank you so much, Mayhem Hippie, for kicking things off with the tier 1 sub. 7 months. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay. We definitely have quite a few articles to go through. How's everybody doing? Just kind of lurking while putting together wedding guest gifts. Nice. I appreciate the lurk. No notifications again. Well, I can't really do anything about that if Twitch doesn't fire him off, or if the robot in Discord doesn't fire him off properly. It is what it is. Okay. I think we have everything in order. I hope. I think we should start with the Kiwi Farms article. For those of you that don't know, apparently Kiwi Farms has been hacked. Oh well. I hope you heard that Putin is announcing a referendum in Donbass as a serious escalation. Well, didn't he threaten that before? I don't know what that's gonna mean, to be quite honest. I thought Kiwi Farms is gone. Gone in the sense that, like, it's not really available on, like, the regular web. The site exists, just a former shell of itself in the dark web. So I think we should start with that one. Kiwi Farms has been breached. Assume passwords and emails have been leaked. Oh well. The head of Kiwi Farms, the internet forum best known for organizing harassment campaigns against trans and non-binary people, said the site experienced a breach that allowed hackers to access his administrator account and possibly the accounts of all other users. On the site, the creator Joshua Moon wrote, quote, "The forum was hacked. You should assume the following. Assume your password for the Kiwi Farms has been stolen. Assume your email has been linked, and assume any IP you've used on your Kiwi Farms account in the last month has been leaked." Moon said that the unknown individual or individuals behind the hack gained access to his admin account by using a technique known as session hijacking, in which an attacker obtains the authentication cookies as site sets after an account holder enters valid credentials and successfully completes any two-factor authentication requirements. The session hijacking was made possible after uploading malicious content to Zenforo, a site Kiwi Farms uses to power its user forums. A bad actor was able to upload a web page disguised as an audio file. What? To Zenforo. Moon wrote elsewhere he was able to load his web page, probably as an inline frame, causing random users to make automated requests and send their authentication cookies off-site so that the attacker could use it to gain access to their account. My admin account was compromised through this mechanism. The attacker then used the access to Moon's admin account to issue a command to Zenforo to send the email, address, username, last activity, and any other details of each user. Moon said systems log indicated the command failed before any data was sent, but that he couldn't rule out the possibility that the attacker ran other commands or scripts that may have succeeded. The file uploaded to Zenforo ends in .opus, an extension that's used by certain audio formats. It was uploaded to Zenforo directly, an injection by a custom Rust-based chat program Moon wrote to make Kiwi Farm chats interact with sessions from Zenforo. The script caused targets to load /test chat, which was an app Moon uses for the site. Targets also loaded /help /Zenforo's help documentation /avatar to change the avatars to the logo of another site, and admin.php tools php info in the event that the target was an admin. While the command to download all users' data didn't appear to succeed, the attacker was able to load the file, most likely as an iframe, that caused certain users to send the attacker their Kiwi Farms authentication cookies. This is what caused Moon's admin account to become compromised. The compromise came after a content delivery network, Cloudflare, last week stopped serving Kiwi Farms after weeks of stiff rebuke from critics who said Cloudflare was enabling mass harassment and doxing activities that were targeting trans and non-binary individuals. The Cloudflare provided protection from DDoS attacks that have targeted Kiwi Farms for years. Cloudflare had been a top-tier provider to continue serving the site. Once it severed ties, Kiwi Farms was forced to fall back onto much less capable services. In fairness to Joshua, he appears to know technically what he's doing based on his comments in the Telegram chat. Independent researcher Kevin Belmont wrote on Twitter in a thread documenting the breach. Unfortunately for him, all the companies he's working with and users don't. Oh well. So some employees probably clicked on a spam link. Yeah, something like that. Moon didn't respond. Oh yeah, Kiwi Farms launched in its current form in 2013 and quickly became a hub for online harassment campaigns. At least three suicides have been tied to harassment stemming from Kiwi Farms community. Forum participants openly admit that their goal is to drive the targets to take their own lives. Trans and non-binary people, members of the LGBTQ community, and women are frequent targets. Moon didn't respond to an email seeking comment and additional details on the breach. On Sunday, he attempted to cast himself as a victim, with no indication of irony, as he explained the work that would be required to get the site running again. Zenforo removed us from their license a year ago, and their software is no longer sufficient for our needs. We needed something custom, but my confidence in my work has been shot. The sophistication in this attack is very high, shows an intimate familiarity with both Rust and Zenforo. It is unfortunate they have applied themselves to descend, likely for pay. There are so many more people trying to destroy rather than create. Yeah, honestly, go F yourself. Honestly. Too bad. Oh well. Am I supposed to feel bad? Nah. It's a good meme. It's a good meme. It's a good meme. I figure we should start off with that one. Kiwi Farms was rotten and moldy anyway. Who's going after Truth Social? Well, to be fair, Truth Social belongs to Donald Trump, so everything Donald Trump touches goes into bankruptcy. So I wouldn't be surprised if like Truth Social doesn't really stay up for long either. Alio with the 11 biddies. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Kicking it off to a local story. A backlash over controversial flyer aimed at Stacey Abrams prompts Forsyth Republicans to cancel the rally. A flyer from the Forsyth County Republican Party sparking anger, with some calling it racist and dangerous, especially given the county's violent past in race relations. The flyer came just days before a barbecue meet and greet for the gubernatorial candidate Stacey Abrams Sunday incoming. The backlash prompted the county's Republican Party to cancel its own rally, which was planned for the same time on Sunday. Jesus Christ. Like, imagine doing something so bad that the Republican Party even had to cancel their own stuff. Yeah. Massachusetts will probably fine DeSantis and maybe a class action lawsuit. I'm willing to say maybe. Maybe. Maybe that will be the case. Who knows? Okay, I guess I'll put it right next to this one. This woman named Perla was luring people in. Yikes. It goes on to say, quote, the designers of destructive radicalism and socialism are crossing over our county border and into coming this Sunday. Yes, truly a bastion of socialism. Stacey Abrams. Salty bread is good. How's it going? There's a sheriff in Texas going after DeSantis as well. Yep. We'll be covering that. What's happening today? Well, in good news, Kiwi Farms got hacked. Republicans, surprise, surprise, are engaging in some cringe behavior. Quote, the flyer announces, quote, a call to action to save and protect our neighborhoods, our communities, and our county. It goes on to say the designers of destructive radicalism and socialism are crossing over our county border and into coming this Sunday. Channel 2's Brian Mims talked to Melissa Klink, the chair of the Forsyth County Democratic Party. Klink said the language is intimidating and carries out racist overtones. I was so angry that people would try to use what happened in Forsyth County in the past to kind of install fear into people of color coming to the rally. She's referring to the county's racial cleansing in 1912 when a white mob forced a black population of roughly 1,100 to flee the county. It wasn't that very long ago when it was a violent Forsyth County when civil rights leader came to town, so we want to make sure we condemn it. Mims went on to say the county Republican headquarters on Monday, but nobody went to the Republican headquarters on Monday, but nobody was inside the building and emails weren't immediately returned. The local party did send a news release to announce the cancellation. How embarrassing. How freaking embarrassing. Forsyth County is a proud and diverse county with conservative values, the release said. This is an oxymoron. But okay. After much deliberation and consultation, we have decided to redirect our efforts for the rally planned for Sunday, September 18th. The release said that the organization would instead focus on welcoming Brian Kemp to Forsyth County the following day. We will always strive to make choices that honor and protect Forsyth County. In the interest of all involved, we will err on the side of caution and withdraw our planned rally. Why? Are they like violent or something? That's interesting. True. Imagine being so like embarrassed that you had to cancel that because it was a bit too much and you were, quote, erring on the side of caution. Like, what did you think was going to happen? What? Is the Republican Party violent or something? Channel 2 Action News showed the flyer to a couple of the Forsyth County residents, including registered Republican Carmelo Centeno. It's pretty aggressive language. It's 2022 and about to be 2023, and I feel like there's no right place to have particular language like that, saying they're coming across our borders. It's an open country, right? I don't think there's a border here to protect. Right. I think it's Action News, actually. Now that I think about it, I thought it was their name, the person, the reporter, but now that I think about it and reread it, it's Action News. Womp womp. Yeah, it's a funny typo. Joe Steen, how's it going? Mike Pillow motion to dismiss was denied. Yep. That's a good meme. So yeah, he's definitely gonna have to face the music. Dawn Densmore is a Democrat who lives in Forsyth County, and she feels ashamed. I think it's disgraceful, and I think it's the absolute opposite of patriotism. It's upsetting. The Republican Women of Forsyth County, a private group, issued its own statement, saying, quote, the Republican Women of Forsyth would like to make it clear to all interested parties that we do not condone or engage in tactics that are intended to intimidate, harass, or silence people who hold different political views. But you did. Okay, whatever. This is the Republican Party, folks. All right. I think this one's quite important to talk about. Correct. Harasses and silences people of opposing political views. We do not condone silencing. Right? This is like some unironic 1984 shit. Like, unironically. Unironically. I think before we talk about this one, we should move to this one. This one's a good one. California employers will soon be banned from screening workers for marijuana. Nice. Employers in California will now be banned from screening workers for marijuana under a new law. Assembly Bill 2188, signed by Governor Gavin Newsom, prevents employees from setting employers. What? Okay. Assembly Bill 2188, signed by Governor Newsom, prevents employees from setting conditions of employment based on cannabis use while they're away from work. It also prevents them from hiring or firing based on that. I think they mean employers. They need to do that in Michigan? Yeah, they need to do that everywhere. However, there are exceptions to the law. Employers can test staff who work in construction or in positions that require a federal background investigation or clearance. The law still prevents employees from using marijuana while at work, working while impaired, and being in possession of marijuana while on the job. Newsom signed other similar bills into law. Senate Bill 1186 prevents local governments from banning deliveries of medical marijuana, while Assembly Bill 1706 will allow people to get old marijuana convictions records sealed or cleared. Nice. This is huge. That's important. That should just be par for the course. That's good. Oh, it let employee. Oh, okay. Let employees set the conditions. Okay, gotcha. Free speech, freedom, the economy, love for one's neighbors, all things Republicans suck at, and all things Republicans claimed as their own. Yeah, this is like the problem, right? They don't actually care about any of that. Not at all. The laws are expected to go into effect in 2024, and marijuana is still illegal at the federal level. Maybe they should do something about that. Well, good on California. Once again. Newsom is doing a few decent things in preparation for a run at the presidency. You think he's gonna run? He might. Although I don't know how far he's gonna get. But yeah, that might be the case. Absolutely. Huh. Okay. I mean, I certainly would choose a candidate Newsom over Joe Biden. At the very least, if that's the choices that were given. If not in 2024, definitely in 2028. Well, that might be possible. I'm assuming Biden does not end up running again. I don't know. I'd choose a lot I'm not proud of over Joe Biden if given a chance. What? That doesn't even make sense. Though Biden's approval did get a nice jump from the student loan stuff. Yep, that's true. That is true. I really hope they don't make the mistake of running him again. But who knows? Never underestimate the Democratic Party's ability to, find a way to mess up a winning scenario. A winnable scenario, I should say. I expect the party to try to push Kamala or Buttigieg, but nobody likes them. Yeah, if Joe Biden doesn't end up running, um, unfortunately, the Democratic Party, unfortunately, the Democratic Party roster doesn't look too promising. It means 9 out of 10 times I'm given garbage options, and it's almost always a lesser. Yeah, it's always a lesser of two evils. Yes, it's always a lesser of two evils. I voted for Joe, and if it's him or right wingers, I'll vote for him again. That doesn't mean I have to like him or my choices. Okay, I don't think anybody's disputing that opinion. I think most people feel that way. When given choices, you ideally, or I guess I should say, when presented with such bad choices, you choose the one that does less harm. Right? You do the one that does less harm. But one time I'd like to actually like my choices. Well, me too. And I'm pretty sure everybody would agree. But I think the only politicians I've ever liked to gotten to vote for in November was Ben Jealous. Voting for lesser evil got us to where we are now. Maybe. I don't even like, yeah, utilitarianism, sort of. I don't even need to like all of them. Can I get like one choice that I like? I would guess, for God's sake, Sarah Huckabee Sanders is running for governor of my state, and that's going to be horrific. Well, Giles is the former head of the NAACP, ran for Maryland governor on a platform of legal weed, expunge records, free community college, and statewide single-payer healthcare. So, of course, half of the state Democratic Party quietly supported Hogan. Damn. Wow. Wow. Okay. Nice meme. Good job, guys. You don't have to like any of your politicians. Until we can crawl our way out of this mess, we can only use the tools that we have at our disposal. I swear I'm tempted to vote for Vermin Supreme, and I don't even know if he's running. Alright. Let's talk about this. I think this is important. Now that we got the meme articles out of the way. Republicans are trying to steal Democratic clothes. I don't know what that means. Like talking points or... New footage confirms a fake Trump elector spent hours inside Georgia election office the day it was breached. I'm not sure which policies they're trying to steal. I don't suspect the Republican Party latching on to a lot of Democratic policies. Newly obtained surveillance video shows for the first time what happened inside a Georgia County election office the day its voting systems are known to have been breached on January 7th of 2021. A Republican county official in Georgia and operatives working with an attorney for former President Trump spent hours inside a restricted area of the Coffee County elections office that day. Among those seen in the footage is Kathy Latham, a former GOP chairwoman of Coffee County who is under criminal investigation for posing as a fake elector in 2020. Once again, reminder that it is absolutely unbelievable that the Republican Party in numerous cases has attempted different schemes, including shoehorning fake electors in an attempt to overturn a free and fair election. That is some unbelievable stuff that should be wall-to-wall coverage. They're trying to cloak their policies inside Democrats. Can you name an example, please? Because I don't know what any of this means. MTG claims the Republican... No, I know what the saying wolves in sheep clothing means. I need an example, because I don't know what you're talking about. MTG claims that the Republican Party is only about loyalty to Trump. I would not be surprised if that's like... Yeah, that is the Republican Party. Honestly, I could. It's only a matter of time before the right figures out that if they want to stop actual progressive policies they will need to align themselves with the centrists and moderates. I don't think so. I see them going more extreme. The right is only getting more extreme. CNN previously reported that Latham escorted operatives working with former Trump lawyer Sidney Powell through the front doors of the election office on January 7th of 2021. The new footage appears to undercut previous claims by Latham that she was not, quote, personally involved in the breach. But here she is, caught in 720p, I guess. I mean, we already knew that, but MTG just came out and said it. Can I get a link? Can you send that to me, Bipedal? Republicans are saying they want to reach a consensus on abortion. Really, they want to ban it nationwide. Oh, yeah, 100%. But then they're not... But then that's not, like, the policy of the Democratic Party, right? The policy, or at least the stance on abortion of the Democratic Party seems to be pro-choice. Mostly. Generally speaking. That is not the position of the Republican Party. So yeah, no, they're definitely different. A new video obtained as part of a years-long civil lawsuit in Georgia related to the security of voting systems there shows Latham remained in office for hours. As those same operatives set up computers near election equipment and appear to access voting data.
It didn't take long for
Taylor Greene decided to drop the facade. At a Save America rally this past weekend, Marjorie Taylor Greene decided to drop the facade, gave up the game, and totally admitted that the future of the Republican Party is loyalty to Donald Trump. Not loyalty to the Constitution.
I saw the Republican leader of Congress launching a proposed
loyalty to a
Republican
set of
abortion bill.
policies that they strongly believe in. No.
Okay. I need to know what that's about. Yeah, I'm not sure. You mean Lindsey Graham's bill?
The vision of one man.
Yeah, well, that's not a compromise, Cosmic Seeking. It's a federal ban on abortion after 15 weeks. Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah, this isn't a compromise. This is Lindsey Graham just saying that we want to ban this stuff, and all the other Republicans, knowing that they don't have, like, you know, the support, we're just scrambling, doing mental gymnastics to try to, like, either try to distance themselves. Some double down, like Marco Rubio, little Marco. He was down with that. But the reality is, I've said that if they have the House, the Senate, and the presidency, absolutely they'll try to do this. Absolutely, if they have the House and the Senate and the presidency, they'll absolutely try to do this. Nah, there's no front. After Lindsey Graham kind of blew that one out, they definitely want a federal ban on abortions.
So take a look. Here is Marjorie Taylor Greene looking super pleased with herself for her idiotic comments. Take a look.
The future under Republicans is America first. Protects freedoms for all.
Yeah, like all of these are huge red flags. America first. Yeah, huge red flag.
Reins in the federal government and loyally follows the one true leader of the Republican Party, and
Not
you
a
know
cult.
who that is.
Not a cult, by the way. Not a cult.
He's the one we elected in 2016, the one we re-elected in 2020, who won the election.
Continues to push the idea that they continue to push this idea that this election in 2020 was stolen or not correct. I mean, here she is continuing to perpetuate that. Yeah, not a cult, but it checks all the boxes. Yeah, no, I'm being sarcastic. It's 100% a death cult. This is a death cult. My impression was that they were saying that they would soften the threshold and make it federal. No, these people can and will implement a federal ban on abortions should they have should a scenario come to play out where should a scenario happens where should a scenario plays out where they have the House, the Senate, and the presidency, they absolutely will introduce a federal ban on abortions. Lindsey Graham kind of just told us that they would if they ever had the chance. But if he won in 2020, he can't run in 2024. Yeah, but I suspect they don't really care about, like, the rules or democracy or elections. None of that. They don't give a shit. As demonstrated time and time again, they don't care about elections. It was never about him, his bill may be awkwardly timed, but it actually does make some sense. The reason why, and this is both a pro and con, is that it plays on public opinion on abortion. It flips the debate and aims to make the Democrats look like the dogmatists, while the Republicans are in line with the public sentiment. It's pretty sneaky. Yeah, but it's not quite like that, right? Canada and Mexico will do a great trade on abortions. I don't know how that works in Mexico. Anyways, my point is, these people don't believe in elections. That's all.
By the way, oh yeah, he won.
Oh yeah, he won.
He did.
Again, perpetuating this idea. No, Donald Trump did not win that election in 2020. He lost. He lost by a comfortable margin. He lost by a comfortable margin both in the popular vote and the electoral college vote. He just plainly lost. No two ways about it. He lost. He lost the election, and there's nothing to it. The only people who are demonstrably trying to alter the only people who are demonstrably trying to overturn free and fair elections are the Republican Party. That's it. That's it. As evidenced by our previous as evidenced by this article, which will continue. I think this is important. It's them. Zeoduke with a tier 1 sub. Damn, Trump just keeps rolling. Peak stupid has yet to crest. Oh no, this is not going away very soon. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Hope you're good. Hope you're good. Thank you so much. They tried making it look like overturning Roe was increasing democracy by taking it from a court decision to a state decision, and no one bought it. Right, so then they're just like, F it. I guess we'll just do it, you know? I guess we'll just go for it. Yeah, he lost by more votes than in 2016, true.
And the one we will make our next president of the United States of America, that's Donald J. Trump.
Again, bringing it back to Bipedal's comment. If it's true that he won the election, how is he running a third time? Riddle me that. I saw MTGM and Trump's diatribe and told you it was troublesome. Oh yeah, no, this is par for the course, my friend. This is the Republican Party. On paper, it makes sense because yes, there are a significant number of Americans who would support bans beyond 15 weeks, a majority depending on the polls, but the problem is that on paper it isn't how people vote. When an issue is salient, most people will just pick the extreme of the side they lean closest to because the alternative is unthinkable. So his idea is both smart and not smart at the exact same time. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I would say that maybe you're giving him too much credit. I think that it's just Lindsey Graham playing, you know, he overplayed his hand, and he gave us a little peek as to what would happen should these people get power. MTG should marry Trump? I thought she was married already. Well, that didn't stop him. That doesn't stop the party of family values. But nonetheless, I don't know. They're a bunch of rabble-rousers and will carry they do carry an angry following. But yeah, it's not just that they're rabble-rousers. It's that they're fundamentally against democracy and are actively working. I think she's probably on an open marriage. Oh, then by all means. There you go. There you go, Alio. It's just that they're too open about the idea of dismantling democratic systems, or what thin veneer of democratic systems we have. I think it's an idea that Republicans will toy with in the future. But it feels way too early. People have not forgotten 4 to 5 months ago. Yet not only that, like, I don't know, that I would say that, like, maybe we're just giving, you know, Lindsey Graham a little bit too much credit. I think that they will, absolutely. They will impose a national ban on abortions, and are testing the waters to see what extremes they can get away with. And these people fundamentally don't believe in the right to bodily autonomy. They don't believe in, like, democracy. They don't care. So that's what's scary about that. They don't need a new MAGA, though, because they've got given a chance to make it great again and fell flat. Yeah, I don't know. They just kept going with it. They just kept running with it, because the way Donald Trump spun it was that, well, Trump got in office, made America great again, and then he, you know, wasn't in office, so it's not great, so now he has to make it great again. So, I don't know, whatever. It doesn't have to make sense, folks. It's a cult.
Now, before I get into what she said, I do want to take a minute to point out to everybody how pleased she looked with herself.
Not even that. That's not even like the worst of it, right? Because like if she's just like saying this stuff and everybody thinks she's like, you know, off her rocker, that's whatever. It's the people who are cheering vigorously. That's the problem. That's the scary part. That's the scary part. I think they will definitely limit, they will test the limits of how many rights they can take away cosmic seeking. Mitch McConnell calls the Republican Governor DeSantis and Abbott's ploy to fly migrants to Democratic enclaves like Martha's Vineyard a good idea. Of course, because fundamentally, that's the Republican Party. I keep making that point. And like, I don't know. I keep making the point that like these people are all the same. There's no such thing as a moderate Republican. Every single one of these people fall in line when it comes down to it. All these the Republican Party is all the same. It is MAGA. They are all MAGA. They are all extremists. The rhetoric is less so much about making any policy sense, but more about playing the sentiments of partisans. Most extremists on either side will consider the other as legitimate and imminent threat to their existence, and so words like save and fight back activate that shit so much. Again, it's kind of the downside to political research. Eventually, people with agendas will read it and use it. Maybe. I just don't know if they're that smart. I just don't know if they're that smart. But I do agree with that statement.
He was just so happy. Look at all these people, and she's looking
Echo
around
Resto
and making
Dragon, how's
sure
it going?
every single person is clapping and applauding. I'm so great. I say great things. She's nuts. And that honestly is the most mild way I can put that without losing a ton of followers here, is that she is nuts. She knows exactly what she's doing. I'll give her that. She is playing to the crowd, but she has that same damaging narcissism that Donald Trump has. Like, you saw her in that clip. She had to look around.
Oh, yeah. Like, because these people are all the same. Worst mistake you could do is underestimating the opposition. 100%. Yeah, 100%. But I'm not underestimating the dangers that these people pose. There's a difference. There's a difference. People that evil are very sharp. Maybe, maybe they're just good at being assholes. That doesn't mean they're necessarily like smart. Maybe they're just good at being assholes.
Behind her, make sure everybody was cheering, because that's why she says these things.
Right, and the scary part is that it's true. The crowd was cheering. That's the dystopic part about this whole thing. That's the dystopic part. Never mind Marjorie Taylor Greene. Never mind her. It's the fact that like the crowd responds and is completely okay with the things that she's saying. I mean, like, listen to what she was saying. It was like she was like evangelizing about like Trump being like some kind of god emperor. Oh, I know he has legal problems. We'll see what accountability happens or doesn't. I don't know. Maybe. I think they do pay attention to a degree. I think the conservatives here in the UK are arguably a better example of it. Oh yeah, 100%. Where their inherent cynicism helps them interpret all the research we have on the electorate and on the electorate in the most manipulative way to get what they want. It's easier, I think, to play on negative than harness positives. So social regressives are often better at it. Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. I think I see what you're saying now. Yeah. I think I see what you're saying. Did you see about the sheriff in Texas going to investigate DeSantis? Yes, yes, we have it queued up over here. The Ohio rally was much smaller. It's now once a month. It's now monthly, and Marjorie Taylor Greene is protecting her hobby. Maybe, I don't know.
So, in that regard, maybe she's not nuts. Maybe she doesn't believe any of this, but she knows how to work a crowd.
Nah, I think she's based on her rhetoric. It seems that it seems that she's bought into this idea, full on. No, I think she's a true believer in this cult. I saw the video with the sheriff. It's good.
Maybe
Oh.
Marjorie
Huh. Well, maybe we'll watch the video. Can you send that to me? Or actually, you post it.
Taylor Greene's been pulling the wool over our eyes this entire time, and she knows how to pretend to be crazy in order to get support. Now, that is a theory. I don't think it's one that I necessarily buy into. I
No,
think
wait, and even so, like, to attempt to figure out, like, the motivations behind Marjorie Taylor Greene is kind of like... It's an exercise in futility, right? Because it doesn't matter. The outcome is still the same, okay? The outcome is still the same. So, yeah. So whether she's, like, grifting or whether or not she's a true believer, I think it's pretty much irrelevant because, well, the outcome is the same.
she's genuinely nuts. But she did explain what the Republican Party is turning into, or what it has turned into in her mind. And she's not wrong about that either. That's the worst part. It'd be great to sit here and debunk what she said, but I can't because it's the truth. Not about Trump winning the election. That was totally false, and she knows it. But about the Republican Party's only platform being be loyal to Trump. That is 100% correct. Look at what has happened to Republicans in this country that have not been loyal to Donald Trump. Liz Cheney's out the door. Adam Kinzinger quit. Other Republicans, while Trump was in office, quit, retired. They weren't going to do it. They weren't going to stand for it. Now, that doesn't excuse all the horrible things those people have done in the past. All they ever did was be good little loyal Republicans to the Republican Party.
No.
But because they refuse...
You don't have to be loyal to the party. The party is nothing. You have to be loyal to the Don. Excuse me, the leader.
Hey everybody, this is Senator Jon Ossoff in Georgia, and I'm asking you to dig deep to support my brother, Senator Reverend Raphael.
Stop it.
To the suspected with regard.
Okay. So we gotta queue this up over here. Okay, I think, yeah, we're gonna cover this from top to bottom.
to bend the knee to Donald Trump, they had to go. And that's what people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Matt Gaetz, Jim Jordan, they've been pushing this forever. They want to make sure that everybody left in the Republican Party is loyal only to Donald Trump.
Exactly.
The Constitution, the rule of law, policy, all of that is secondary.
True.
The most important thing is that you show your love and devotion to Donald Trump.
True.
Because this is no longer a political party.
No, it's a cult.
It's a cult.
Yeah, oh my...
The cult
what?
is not just...
Listen, chat, I did not want... how does he do it, chat, okay? How does he do it? Inside MTG's head is a rotating bingo ball selector, mostly empty space filled with balls that have mostly empty space in them. It spins around and around, and one at a time a ball pops out occasionally, and those would be like the buzzwords, right? How's it going, Maple Leaf Dragon? By the way, thank you so much for the biddies during the weekend. I appreciate the support. Thank you. We all knew it was a cult. Yeah, that's true.
It's the MAGA hat wearing weirdos out there, folks. The entire Republican Party is now the cult. That is what Marjorie Taylor Greene was admitting there. It's all a cult. You cannot escape it. And if you're a card-carrying member of the Republican Party, then guess what? I've got some bad news for you.
You're in a cult.
As long as you stay with that party, you are a part of the cult and therefore a part of the problem. Even if you don't like Trump, doesn't matter. as long as you stay in their little club, you are just like them.
This is
True.
Hattie wants to know why you have not subscribed to our channel. You obviously like our videos, so do us a favor and subscribe.
True. 100 biddies. Again, thank you, Maple Leaf Dragon. Appreciate it. Alright, so Republican Party, not interested in democracy, and a cult. Excellent. The footage, now that we've got kind of like a little bit of a... It's not exactly a detour. My last biddy's till Friday. It's okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it. The footage also features the two men Latham escorted into the building earlier that day, Scott Hall and Paul Maggio, both of whom acknowledged that they were part of the team that gained access to the Coffee County voting systems. Remember, the claim, the accusation was always that the Democrats are messing with the things and they're messing with the votes and they're gathering votes and they're having people illegally vote and they're messing the election systems. But here we are with video footage in caught live. In 4K. Doing the exact same thing. Doing the things that they were accusing the other party of doing. Maggio did not respond to CNN's request for comment. The data firm he works for, Sullivan Strickler, which court documents showed was hired by Powell, previously said in a statement to CNN that it was directed by attorneys to contact county election officials to obtain access to certain data. Sure. Certain data in Georgia, and also directed by attorneys to distribute the data to certain individuals. And then, like, the Republican Party has single-handedly been the most destructive thing to happen to the security of our elections. Their conspiracy theories have led them to commit actions that have unironically made our election systems less secure. The firm said it had no reason, to certain individuals. In an August 29, 2022 email, an attorney for Sullivan Strickler acknowledged that Latham was the primary point of contact in coordinating the team's visit to Coffee County. The firm said it had no reason to believe these attorneys would ask or direct it to do anything either improper or illegal. A lawyer representing Latham pushed back on the claim that she was the primary point of contact for the Sullivan Strickler team, telling CNN that that the calls she can be seen in the video making are not with anyone from the firm. There's no evidence of which we are aware that Ms. Latham spoke to Ms. Powell or to anyone at Sullivan Strickler on or before January 6th of 2021. And indeed, there's no evidence of which we are aware that I love the caveat there. That Ms. Latham spoke to Ms. Powell or anyone at Sullivan Strickler on or before January 6th. A second lawyer representing Latham, Bob Cheeley, previously told CNN that Kathy Latham has dedicated significant time and effort over many years protecting the integrity of elections in Coffee County, Georgia, and she would not and has not knowingly been involved in any impropriety in any election. Hall, an Atlanta Bills bondman and Fulton County Republican poll watcher, did not reply to repeated requests for comment from CNN. The new video also shows a third operative, Jeffrey Lenberg, entering the restricted server room from inside the Coffee County election office more than 2 weeks later on January 26. Lenberg is under criminal investigation by the Michigan Attorney General in connection to a series of voting system breaches there. So, not only is this like shenanigans happening in Georgia, but in other states as well. Okay. Also gaining access to the elections office in late. Geez, everybody gets access to this stuff. Wow. In late January of 2021 was Cyber Ninjas, the now defunct audit company, whatever BS. Cyber Ninja CEO Doug Logan, who oversaw the partisan election audit in Maricopa County and is also a target of the Michigan criminal investigation. Jesus. According to court documents, Logan and Maggio are part of a team that gained access to voting systems in Antrim County, Michigan at the end of 2020, ultimately leading to a since-debunked report on Dominion voting system vulnerabilities that remains at the center of the baseless claims about widespread voter fraud pushed by Trump and his allies. Surveillance video from the exterior of the building shows Logan visited the Coffee County election office more than once in January of 21, roughly 2 weeks after the breach took place. CNN has reached out to attorneys for Logan. Lindbergh has denied visiting the Coffee County election office, but claimed on an interview on an internet show last week that he and Logan only helped direct the testing of voting systems there, i.e., I did some sketchy shit to see if I would get caught, and here we are. We didn't do the testing, we just helped direct it. We didn't actually touch the equipment. Doug Logan and I, he said, adding that they just provided instructions to two Coffee County election officials who handled the equipment at their direction. Well, I didn't tell, Your Honor, I didn't say, I didn't actually, okay, here is the analogy. Your Honor, who was it, serial killer? Jeffrey Dahmer? Shoot, no. Oh my god. You guys, told me last time. It wasn't Jeffrey Dahmer. It wasn't, Charles Manson. There we go. Your Honor, Charles Manson never actually touched anybody. He just provided sufficient instructions. There you go. Further proof that the Republican Party is just fundamentally incompatible with democracy. I mean, they pose an unironic threat. And this is not an exaggeration. They pose an unironic threat to our election systems. They have done immeasurable damage to the security systems of our election equipment. It is inconceivable to think that these people need to be in power in any way, shape, or form. Here's the footage.
Already under investigation, this woman is, for posing as one of those fake electors who signed documents that declared Donald Trump was the winner of the 2020 election. Latham can be seen here escorting a team of pro-Trump operatives into the Coffee County Elections Office,
yep,
including an IT specialist who was working with Trump attorney Sidney Powell. This all happens on the same day the voting system in that office was illegally breached.
Right, and I think that pretty much tells you all you need to know, right? I mean, no further questions, Your Honor. All right, folks. People in power don't like having that power taken away from them, and no one does. Democrats have the fortitude to accept that this is a part of a working democracy and are willing to fight to have that power given back. Republicans are too weak to accept that power changing hands will do any corrupt, underhanded legal tactics to retain that power regardless of consequences. I just think that they fundamentally don't believe in democracy at this point. I'm convinced that they fundamentally just reject that idea. Because like you said, there is a In a democratic system, there is a scenario where they can lose, and they don't like that idea because they fundamentally don't believe in it. That's
Look,
the,
it's
that's
me,
the
Russell.
issue. Jesus Christ. Because they fundamentally don't believe in it. All right, we need to do a little bit of a semi deep dive on this whole thing, right? Delaware braces for... So, as we know, there's been several of these stories where Republican governors from Texas and now Florida have been busing or flying migrants in places where obviously they're not supposed to go. Here we are. Same story. Delaware braces for a migrant flight in the U.S. In a U.S. political standoff. Georgetown, Delaware, local government officials, advocates, and reporters swarmed a small coastal airport near President Biden's vacation home in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, in anticipation of a possible flight carrying migrants from Texas. The flight tracking website showed a scheduled flight to leave from San Antonio heading to Georgetown, Delaware on Tuesday, chartered by the same company that was used by Florida Republican Governor DeSantis to send migrants to wealthy island of Martha's Vineyard last week. Furthermore, did we ever get an answer as to how he paid for that? Was it taxpayer dollars? But later in that day, the flight tracker shows the plane no longer going to San Antonio or Georgetown, instead heading to Nashville. It was unclear what caused the route change or if there was any migrants on board. DeSantis previously took credit for a pair of planes that dropped nearly 50 migrants, mostly from Venezuela, on an island in Massachusetts with no warning, and said he planned additional actions, but on Tuesday he would not confirm any information about a possible flight to Delaware. That's what I heard, yeah. Asked at the White House about his reaction to the possibility of DeSantis sending more migrants near his Delaware home, Biden, a Democrat, told reporters that Florida governor should come visit. We have beautiful shorelines. The White House said it would work with state and local authorities to help migrants if they arrived, while condemning the incident as a political stunt. Yeah, basically. So here we are with the potential of another of these incidents. There's a backdrop to some of it, the most common being the myth of replacement theory, where a lot of conservatively minded people are terrified that they're quickly losing grip on the status within the nation. White/Christian. Now the thing is that there's some generational effects that can resemble that, and they get scared that it's the same thing and lash out. They seek populist authoritarians because they see them as, quote, fighting back. As we've spoken about before, there's always a kind of reservoir of authoritarianism in a society that is ready to be tapped into at the right time when circumstances fit, and this would be one of them. Yeah, but like it doesn't... Yeah, I agree with you, but like these circumstances are being manufactured, right? Because like I don't see the problems that they do, right? Like where's the evidence to suggest that you should even be like you're just like these people are just going off basically fear. A lot of feelings going on in here. Victims of severe form of human trafficking are provided relief under U.S. immigration law by victims of trafficking in persons non-immigrant visa. This status allows victims of human trafficking to remain in the U.S. To assist in investigations or prosecute human trafficking violators. So good job, governors. It may not work quite like they think. Maybe. Yeah. So that's the preface. Now, just to kind of switch it to the next slide. The migrants flown to Martha's Vineyard have filed a federal lawsuit against Governor DeSantis, alleging a premeditated, fraudulent, and illegal scheme after he chartered the plane. The migrants have filed a federal class action suit against Governor DeSantis and other state officials, alleging that they carried out a scheme to defraud vulnerable immigrants to advance a political move when they chartered planes to fly them from Texas to Martha's Vineyard. Defendants and their unidentified accomplices designed and executed a premeditated, fraudulent, and illegal scheme centered on exploiting this vulnerability for the sole purpose of advancing their own personal, financial, and political interests. says the lawsuit filed on Tuesday under the U.S. District Court of Massachusetts. The law describes their experience as of escaping a humanitarian crisis in Venezuela only for the defendants to use them as pawns in a political stunt. Causes of action in the lawsuit include violations of the 4th and 14th Amendment protections against illegal seizures and false arrest and more. They say they were falsely imprisoned and that DeSantis and others committed fraud, intentionally inflicting emotional distress, and engaged in a conspiracy to deprive them of civil rights. So that's the civil part of this. The replacement theory is a bit of a red herring. It doesn't really tell the complete story, and it does more damage than good. It assumes too much about one, what ethnicity a person will identify with, and two, what ethnicity says about their political alignment. Both those things are not as simple as people make them out to be, and cast some serious doubt over the great replacement that has gotten right-leaning Americans all worked up for 2 decades. There's actually a really cool book about it called The Great Demographic Illusion by Richard Alba. Nice. I need to read this. Well, I have a lot of stuff to go through. So civil lawsuit is going to be filed. That was outright kidnapping. Well, criminal investigation is being launched into DeSantis. A criminal investigation has been launched in Texas into whether dozens of asylum seekers were illegally flown from the state to Martha's Vineyard as new evidence continues to emerge suggesting that they were misled. The Bexar County Sheriff, Javier Salazar, said on Monday that his office was investigating the flights chartered on the behalf of the Florida governor, which brought Ron DeSantis, which brought dozens of migrants to the island of Massachusetts. He did a podcast on it, which I can send you. That's a lot more digestible. Sweet. While Salazar did not name possible subjects in this inquiry, he said everybody on this call knows who those names are already. Salazar did not discuss on what specific laws they may have been broken, but said it seemed evident that asylum seekers had been lured under false pretenses, with a recruiter given a bird dog fee to gather dozens of people who were outside the San Antonio Migrant Resource Center. They were promised work and they were promised solutions to several of their problems. Many of the asylum seekers were given pamphlets advertising cash assistance with help with housing, job training, and other resources if they came to Massachusetts. Of course, none of that materialized. And Abbott and DeSantis assume getting rid of the immigrants will win them votes. Hopefully not. Well, I mean, it's the Republican Party. That's what they want. Many of the asylum seekers were given pamphlets advertising cash assistance. Oh, yeah. But the promised benefits are only available to refugees, a specific categorization under U.S. immigration law that the asylum seekers do not currently fall under. Lawyers for Civil Rights, a Boston-based group representing 30 of the recent arrivals, shared links and images to the brochure on Twitter. This is additional evidence that shows in writing that those false representations were made in order to induce our clients to travel. The group has also called for federal and state criminal investigations into these chartered flights. A spokesperson for DeSantis' office defended the flights and brochures, saying the immigrants were sent to greener pastures and places that had more resources than Bexar County. That's not, basically saying that, yeah, we did it. And these flights are just one instance of a broader pattern of Republican officials sending thousands of asylum seekers to predominantly Democratic voting areas, a stunt that Democrats have slammed as illegal and wrong. This is a process that is in place, and what they're doing is an illegal stunt, a political stunt. Yeah, not only that, like, they're shafting these asylum seekers in more ways than one, and more importantly, like, some of these people have hearings that are nowhere near the areas that they're being flown into. And as a consequence, they might even miss their hearings, and, well, they might get deported because of that. Which I think is the point. One of the points, anyways. Alright, so now that we got... now that we have that set up,
with regard to the suspected activities involving the 48 migrants from Venezuela that, as we understand it at this point, the facts of the case at this point, are that on Wednesday, September 14th, here in Bexar County in the city of San Antonio, our understanding is that a Venezuelan migrant was paid what we would call a bird dog fee to recruit approximately 50 migrants from the area around a migrant resource center on San Pedro here in San Antonio.
That's right. In other words, I love it when a plan
as we
comes
understand
together.
it, 48 migrants were lured, I will use the word lured, under false pretenses into staying at a hotel for a couple of days. They were taken by airplane. At a certain point, they were shuttled to an airplane.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the rules, but it definitely puts them in danger of, you know, being deported. Exactly, Cosmic Seeking, for not attending the hearing, which I think is one of the points here. Especially if you're an asylum seeker, you already have an immigration hearing scheduled. Like, what a fucking asshole. What a piece of shit.
Where they were flown to Florida and then eventually flown to Martha's Vineyard, again under false pretenses is the information that we have, that they were promised work, they were promised the solution to several of their problems. They were taken to Martha's Vineyard from what we can gather for little more than a photo op, video op, and then they were unceremoniously stranded in Martha's Vineyard. What infuriates me the most about this case is that here we have 48 people that are already on hard times, right? They are here legally in our country at that point. They have every right to be where they are. And I believe that they were preyed upon. Somebody came from out of state, preyed upon these people, lured them with promises of a better life, which is what they were absolutely looking for. And with
Yeah,
the knowledge
this is
that they
likely
were
done
going to
all
cling
the
to
effing
whatever
time. It
hope
just
they
got
could-
national attention
they could
this
be
time.
offered for a better life, to just be exploited and hoodwinked into making this trip to.
Or, you know, another word you could use, trafficked, would be a word. Yeah, it can technically be human trafficking. Yeah, I wonder how, like, that would play out. We'll see if, you know, this criminal investigation actually decides to, you know, dig deep in there.
Florida, and then onward to Martha's Vineyard for what I believe to be nothing more than political posturing. The point. Well, look, we all know that during a political campaign, things can get nasty, things can get out of hand, but when you're playing with human lives of people that are already in a desperate situation, people that again, had every right to be where they were, but were lured under false pretenses, that does tend to bother me quite a bit. And so we are absolutely opening up an investigation into this. Since this past weekend, I've been talking to at least one non-governmental organization involved in the case, LULAC National. Also been talking to at least one attorney involved with representing these folks that are still up on the East Coast, as well as several members of the media, local and national. And all indications are that at this point we are going to be opening an investigation. It is way too early for me to start naming any suspects. We do have the names of some suspects involved that we believe are persons of interest in this case at this point, but I won't be parting with those names. I think to be fair, I think everybody on this call knows who those names are already, so I won't be naming any of them. But suffice it to say, we will be opening up a case.
Now look, I'm no lawyer, but I'd imagine that probably the point at which I'd find myself an attorney. This is Javier Salazar, the Bexar County Sheriff in San Antonio, Texas. And this case is emanating in Texas, given the fact that the migrants involved in this whole Martha's Vineyard stunt actually originated from Texas before DeSantis hired a private contractor to fly them first to Florida.
Yeah, like, obviously there's like a lot of questions, you know, behind here. Where did the funds come from? I would like to know that. Where were the funds that to cover that? Where did they come from? Marjorie Taylor Greene hints that she'll fight to lead the House against McCarthy. Oh, man. Well, never stop your opponent when they're making mistakes, right?
What does S&P Global say about climate risks?
So I'm praying, Lord, why have you led us in this way? Why did you let that freak steal the election? Why did you do this?
This is Dog the Bounty Hunter. Oh, Lord. There's illegal documentation completed by Florida officials, probably. I saw information that they were either telling them to fill out bogus addresses or filling out bogus addresses for the migrants. I'm not sure how the exact details on that. But that's a whole other problem. And of course, that could fudge with their case. Especially, that could fudge with their case, which again is the point.
And once I tell you why, you're going to agree with me. The Lord took me to the Bible, and Jesus' disciples came up to him and said, God, Jesus, why was this man born blind? Was it the sins of his father and his mother that made him blind? And Jesus said, no, that's not why this bad thing happened. The reason this bad thing happened is that to show God's manifestation.
Yes. Excellent, excellent, advocacy for, Christianity there. Jesus. Apparently flying them cost Florida taxpayers about $12,000 per person, even though normal flights would only be about $400. Huh. Then there's illegal. Yes, we saw. The term that comes to mind are evil. Well, I try to avoid things like subhuman. But yeah, definitely evil, gross, horrible human beings. Is certainly criminal investigations are warranted, and I'm glad that the sheriff decided that he is going to look into this. But yeah, international law maybe, although international law is kind of, it's kind of a meme. How's it going? Was that not enough?
There's nothing we could have done about it. Not at all. Yeah, he stole it. Because now, little Hitler, we are going to show you God's manifestation.
Not a cult. Not a cult, by the way. Not a cult. Someone Milosevic, get your heart out because Biden apparently took that name from you. Wait, what? I don't know what that means or what that's referencing. He committed, he was often referred to as Hitler. Oh, Jesus. Waiting for martial law to be declared in Russia. Well, I don't know what the situation is there or how close to that is. Yeah, you're going to act on behalf of God. How humble. We're not a cult. Something a cult would say. True. Oh, I see. So this is how these assholes are downplaying this. Gotcha. Okay. Okay, I see what you're saying. Putin was supposed to address the nation, but they rescheduled tomorrow last minute.
And solar panels in space? What does S&P Global say about climate risks? And solar panels in space?
Probably bad weather. Yeah, something like
Welcome
that.
to the Climate Recap from the Beckosphere Climate Corner, your go-to place for international and US-based climate news. I'm Becky Hogue, a climate communicator. Today is September 20th. Let's jump right into today's news. Let's start with some extreme weather events. While Hurricane Fiona was bearing down on Puerto Rico Sunday, 9 million people were told to evacuate as Super Typhoon Nanmodal hit the outer island of Japan, Kyushu. 2 people have been reported dead as the Category 4 storm caused intense rainfall that spurred flooding and landslides. Nanmodal is considered one of the worst Japan has ever seen. It's now expected to make its way to the largest island, Honshu, in the coming days. Over to Alaska now, where the third of this trifecta storm weekend ravaged the state's western coast. Typhoon Merbok is the most intense storm ever recorded in the Bering Sea during the month of September. It formed further east than normal and was fueled by record warm waters in the North Pacific, which scientists attribute to climate change. Merbok hit villages that are already dealing with sea level rise-induced erosion. The typhoon dumped
Nobody
severe
gives a shit.
rainfall
Well,
in the region.
Unfortunately, I do not know about Russian politics. You're giving me the, you're coming into the wrong place if you expect me to give a good, thorough analysis on Russian politics. Any celebrity or politician that uses effing Hitler or any type of reference to a genocidal authoritarian regime and directs it at their political opponent is immediately one of the worst people. Modi met with Xi Jinping and they're not happy with Putin. I did see that China's very not happy with how things are playing out. You're up for WW3? I'm good. Hard pass on that one.
Time for a climate study. New research published in the journal Nature Geoscience has determined that man-made reservoirs are releasing way more methane than previously thought, and it's getting worse as the planet warms. Methane is 84 times a more potent greenhouse gas than CO2 for the first 20 years they're in the atmosphere. This study was the first global-scale analysis to look at methane emissions from this source, and researchers looked at data and projections for 9,000 reservoirs spanning from the year 1900 to 2060. They found that while carbon dioxide emissions from reservoirs are declining from their peak in 1987, which was born from a massive dam building push around that time, methane emissions are increasing as more organic matter decomposes. Both CO2 and methane emissions connected to hydropower come from drowning vegetation as the reservoirs are built, and scientists found that methane from reservoirs actually accounts for 6 to 8% of human-caused methane emissions. That's quite a bit considering methane is responsible for about a quarter of man-made global warming. Now the
Climate is a scam? What does that mean? I gave her that article. Nice. We're effed. Yeah, yes, we're effed. We know. Listen, if I don't drill into the minds of everybody that this is a pretty F situation, then I'm not doing my job. Yeah, can you yeah, exactly. Climate is a scam. Can you elaborate on that? Can you give me a source for that? Because I don't know what climate being a scam means. Like, do you just not believe in how, like, the Earth works? I'm not trolling. Can you give an example or can you explain? You've got like 5 seconds. Can you explain? No? Okay. Fuck off.
Depth and temperature of a reservoir can dictate how much organic matter decomposes.
Easy peasy.
Methane tends to stay at the lower part of the reservoir. The problem is methane is being helped into the atmosphere when water is drawn from the deeper parts of the reservoir. This means that there's a pretty
yeah, I
easy
know.
fix then. The scientists found that varying where the water is withdrawn can reduce methane emissions.
Yeah, that was a troll bait. Yep, that's how you pretty much weed them out. No, you don't want to? Okay, that's it. We couldn't even play with it a little bit? Nah. They didn't, nah. It's some weak sauce. We got, yeah. It's some weak sauce level, okay? Boring.
A recent study trying this in Malaysia found a 90% drop in methane emissions. We have a lot of climate victories today. S&P Global's new data analysis tool just ripped off the curtain while companies had their pants down. S&P Global Sustainable1 reveals that over 90% of the world's largest companies will have at least one asset financially exposed to climate risks by the 2050s. More than a third will see at least one asset lose 20% or more of its value due to a warming planet. This new dataset provides clients with an inside look of how 20,000 companies' 870,000 assets might be impacted. Almost 10% of the S&P 500's total assets are expected to be impacted by climate hazards such as wildfires, extreme heat, and flooding. This is just the latest product of its kind presented over the past month. JP Morgan Chase, Fitch Ratings, and Morningstar have released something similar recently. In other news, the Russian government received its first climate lawsuit. Russia is the fourth largest greenhouse gas emitter in the world, and no one had yet challenged Putin on his underwhelming climate goals. 31% emissions reduction compared to 1990 levels by 2030, and 80% emissions reduction by 2050. This lawsuit calls on the Russian government to slash emissions by 69% by 2030 to reach 95% by 2050. Now, is it likely that Putin is going to pay attention to this lawsuit? No. But the lawsuit was filed right before Russia removed itself from the European Convention of Human Rights, meaning it can still be ruled via that court. This could result in the court pressuring the next Russian regime after Putin falls. So we'll have to see if the European court takes up this matter. Over in the US, oil and gas companies may face stricter penalties for emitting methane soon thanks to the recent climate law, aka the Inflation Reduction Act. This law would impact any releases from wells, compressors, gas transmission lines, and other equipment. Firstly, the law would require the EPA to gather better data on methane emissions, something it hasn't prioritized enough before. Then, starting in 2024, it would charge companies $900 per ton for methane emissions, a number that would rise to $1,500 per ton by 2026. The satellite monitoring firm Kairos calculates that this would take at least $1.25 billion from fossil fuel companies by 2024, $3.3 billion if companies fail to implement emissions reduction mechanisms. Kairos predicts this even with West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin weakening the methane rules to only include about 40% of fossil fuel company emissions. The fee only applies to companies that emit 25,000 metric tons of CO2 equivalent a year, which only applies to the largest fossil fuel companies. The fee also won't apply to oil and gas companies that comply with the EPA's future methane rules expected later this year. The bill also excludes distribution factories that get gas to homes and businesses and offers some exemptions to pipelines and gathering facilities that sell volumes below a certain threshold. It excludes liquefied natural gas.
Yeah, Becksphere was on vacation. She was taking a vacay.
Or LNG facilities that report methane leaks accounting for 0.05% or less of total gas sales. That's a lot of exclusions. The bill basically gives $1.5 billion in incentives to companies to clean up their methane emissions. But Kairos' analysis suggests that it will also be taking a lot of money away, too. Speaking of the climate law, there has been an interesting part of the law that I've held off mentioning because I was originally planning on doing a video update on it, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and mention it here. The bill specifically amends the Clean Air Act to define several greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane as air pollutants that can be regulated by the EPA. This potentially renders the Supreme Court's ruling in West Virginia v. EPA void. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I did a video on that court ruling that I will leave a link for in the description
actually
below.
A pretty good... That is a decent W. That is a decent W. I will say that. That is a very decent W.
Supreme Court preemptively said that the EPA could not regulate carbon emissions from power plants because it wasn't clear the Clean Air Act gave it the authority to do so. So this is a very big deal because it gives the EPA greater authority to put a cap on power plant carbon emissions. When I first read this, I thought Manchin must have missed the language because there's no way a coal baron would have agreed to this. But the language was brought up during the voting process, with conservative congressmen openly objecting to it and trying to get it removed. Their efforts didn't work, thankfully. Fossil fuel-funded organizations will likely still try to challenge the EPA's authority to regulate greenhouse gases, but legal experts say they're going to have a much tougher time now winning cases. Harvard Law's Jody Freeman calls this language a, quote, powerful disincentive to new lawsuits. In other U.S. policy news, President Biden announced new plans to expand offshore wind through floating wind projects off the coast of California and Oregon and in the Gulf of Maine.
That's not a bad idea.
Floating wind turbines are the newer technology that allows for turbines to be placed in deeper waters than fixed platforms would allow. This is useful for places like along the West Coast, where the coastline drops more drastically than on most of the East Coast. If you want to learn more about this technology, I did a video about it a while ago, which I'll link below. Right now, less than a gigawatt of floating offshore wind exists anywhere in the world, all of which is in Europe. But Biden has a goal of adding 15 gigawatts by 2035. The administration estimates that would generate enough electricity to power 5 million homes.
Bipedal with a 10
in addition to his goal of installing
biddies.
30
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Offshore wind by 2030. The man likes offshore wind, and for a good reason, because wind off the coast is consistent, meaning it doesn't require battery storage like on land. So far, 2 pilot projects are planned for off northern and central California and off southern Oregon. In other news, how would you like to be composted? Well, I have that option starting in 2027. California recently passed a slew of climate-related bills, which you can learn more about on September 5th's episode. By the way, the community solar bill did pass, so yay! One of the ones I didn't mention allows for natural organic reduction, which places human remains in a steel vessel buried with wood chips, alfalfa, and other biodegradable material that decomposes within 30 to 45 days. The nutrient-dense soil can then be given back to family members or donated to conservation land. This method is less energy and carbon intensive than cremation and more environmentally friendly than being buried in a non-compostable coffin or using chemicals to embalm bodies. By passing this bill, California joins Colorado, Oregon, Washington, and Vermont in allowing this option. I have a feeling I know which way Bernie's going to be buried. I've got one climate fail today, and it's also brought to you by California. California allows oil and gas companies to use hundreds of millions of gallons of high-quality water in its processes, while nearby communities in Kern County suffer from severe water shortages. Kern County produces about 3/4 of California's onshore oil supply, so this mainly applies to this community. Their water is being injected into rock for oil and gas extraction. Inside Climate News, which analyzed data from Geological Energy Management Division, or CalGEM, shows deep flaws in collecting data on fossil fuel water usage. As we know, the West is in the worst drought it has seen in 1,200 years, so this is especially not a good look. Curbing this was not included in Governor Newsom's recent plan to save water, by the way. That could have easily been recycled water. Let's finish today's episode with a piece of science fiction entering reality. The world's largest solar technology manufacturer, LONGi Green Energy Technology, announced it would send solar panels up into space to test its product in a harsher environment. It wants to see if its solar panels can be used to generate energy from space to be added to the electricity grid down below. To test this, it will be working with the China Space Foundation and researchers from Xijian University.
If they can pull that off, that would be freaking amazing. Yes, battery storage will always be needed to some degree with wind, solar, and whatnot.
Putting solar panels in orbit would mean that they would have access to the sun 24/7. Earlier this year, the researchers successfully tested a full system model that's designed to transmit solar power from outer space by converting it into microwave beams that are received by a station on the ground and converted back into energy. The US, Japan, Russia, and India are also studying the possibilities of such technology. And that was your climate recap for Tuesday, September 20th.
That's pretty cool.
If you like the work I do, please follow this podcast.
If they could figure out how to do, like, full-scale solar panels that are taking energy from the sun directly into space and moving it, downwards, if these companies succeed, or if these, cooperations between these governments succeed, that would be amazing. What is a VPP? Oh, hey, buddy. For power grid stuff, they might be able to do other forms of energy storage than chemical batteries because they don't have to be small or light. Oh, virtual power plants. Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, if they could manage, like, if they could manage to actually kick that off with, like, massive solar panels in space and then bring that down, bring that energy down, that would be great. Hey, buddy, come here. All right, hold on, folks. We've got a cat intermission, okay? Let me bring out Buddy. Come here, Buddy. Hold on, folks. It's a cluster of battery packs to store excess energy when it is not needed. Gotcha. Oh. Oh no. Orbital solar power stations are way beyond our current tech level at this time. Oh, there goes Buddy. Walter, how's it going? I'm only here for the cats. Well, I hope you got the cat. For whatever moment he was here. 1 second, folks. Okay. I hope you caught a glimpse of him. I wonder if they can get zero emission space launches for big space solar power stations. Oh, nah, I don't think so. Not yet. But once they are up there, I think that's, you know, at that point it's okay. I love that loading Pokemon graphic. Yeah, it's my BRB screen. I could have sworn I didn't I mention that in our group chat that that I used that GIF for my BRB screen like this. I think it's pretty cool. And I like the little like changing shades too. I had not seen it. Oh yeah, this is mostly new, I think. This is the most current iteration of my graphics and whatnot. I'm not sure if the world is ready for that space solar energy tech. It's not. I think the world's readiness is not important in comparison to the necessity of trying to develop new technology to do things like this. We kind of need it. You know, obviously it's not going to be done now, but we definitely need to move into whatever direction that gives us the most amount of renewable sources as possible in as quick in as quickly as possible. Heat 420 has it going, and as cheaply as possible. Technologies needed to properly implement an orbital solar, OG heavy construction, elevator, smelting, OG fabricating mass orbital habitats, and preferably asteroid mining. Yeah, all of that is just a little bit a of ways, but I think that it's very interesting nonetheless. And I'm all for whatever gets us as much renewables as fast and as cheaply as possible, given the circumstances that we're in. All right, so here is the response of Florida Governor DeSantis after this whole thing that we went over, where the sheriff made a press conference saying that he's going to announce an investigation into this thing. Here is the response. Oh, geez, indeed. I apologize for Sean Hannity in advance. Sorry. Not apologizing for Sean Hannity. I apologize to you guys for needing to expose you to Sean Hannity, okay? That I am truly sorry for.
To fend for themselves in Martha's Vineyard. Here to one liberal county in Texas is also investigating Ron DeSantis. They are accusing him of, quote, leaving migrants to fend for themselves in Martha's Vineyard. Here to respond, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis.
There we go.
You know, the great irony in all of this is if we use the left's definition of racism and xenophobia, they're it. They define it based on their actions in Martha's Vineyard.
What? Wait. Based on the response that that happened at Martha's Vineyard, somehow the xenophobes are the libs? What? How does this make sense? Didn't like Martha's Vineyards welcome them with like food and like as much accommodations as possible? You know, there's like videos of this, right? There's little videos of people getting together and giving them food and whatnot, right? Like, does he just like literally think that nobody has access to the internet and nobody can research this? I mean, it's Sean Hannity, whatever. You're not responsible. You're not his mom. No, but I am responsible for what I expose my audience to. So sorry, folks, this one's on me.
What they're missing is Joe Biden has been flying and busing illegal immigrants every day all over the country, and in the dark of night, just
to processing centers, my dude. And I don't even know, like, I would have to see what examples he's talking about to be honest. But yeah, they're not being like shuttled and with private charter flights to nowhere. They're being flown or bused to immigration like processing centers, whereas like this clown over here, Ron DeSantis, is literally chartering private flights to Martha's Vineyard, an island. Like, what?
is leaving them in the middle of the street. So why are they only now paying attention to 50 people that you sent?
Well, Sean, it's really frustrating because...
And wait, and first of all, well, hold on. This video, we're 42 seconds in. Maybe we'll get a response to the actual criminal investigation that he's involved in.
You know, you've been covering this. Millions of people since Biden's been president illegally coming across the southern border. Did they freak out about that? No. You've had migrants die in the Rio Grande. You had 50 die in Texas.
Hey, asshole. Last time I checked, you're supposed to be responsible for Florida. The fuck?
Trailer because they were being neglected. Was there a freak out about that? No, there wasn't. You've had criminal aliens get across that southern border and victimize Americans.
Source?
Much appreciated. Just the correction of the record. I think Senator Wicker mentioned before that a number of unions had approved this.
Thank you, Bernie.
One liberal county in Texas is of race. They're missing a country, and
coming across the southern border. Did they freak out about that?
This is a red herring. This is a red herring. This has nothing to do with the problem here at hand.
No. You've had migrants die in the Rio Grande. You had 50 die in Texas in a trailer because they were.
This is a pivot. This has nothing to do with the current situation that you're involved in, my dude.
Neglected. Was there a freak out about that? No, there wasn't. You've had criminal aliens get across that southern border and victimize Americans, killing some, raping some. Was there any type of outrage about that?
They're bringing drugs. They're murderers. I mean, it's the same spiel.
No. And then, of course, we know fentanyl deaths are at an all-time high. Where's that fentanyl coming from? It's coming over the open southern border. It's only when
the southern border is not open.
50 get put into Martha's Vineyard, which wasn't saying they didn't want this. They said they wanted this.
After you lied to them and misled them with some brochures promising them resources that were not even they weren't even entitled to those resources because those resources applied to a specific classification of refugees. This had nothing to do with the asylum seekers. You lied to them. And this isn't like an exaggeration or a misrepresentation of what happened. There's literal receipts. There are literal pictures of the brochures and pamphlets that were passed out. Or maybe if people are desperate and depressed, living in a country with no safety nets, so they turn to drugs. Right, yeah, but that's a whole other separate problem. Like, what he's listing off has nothing to do with this situation here with the Martha's Vineyard thing.
They said they were a sanctuary jurisdiction. These were people who were basically destitute and then put in a situation where they could have succeeded, but that was all virtue signaling. And not only did they not welcome them, they deported them the next day with the National Guard. Give me a break.
Yeah.
Wait. They weren't deported. Deporting a person means that they get kicked out of the country. To expel someone from a country, typically on grounds of illegal status or having committing a crime. They weren't deported, my dude.
And by the way, just for the record, this was voluntary. All migrants were put up in hotels, given accommodations. They were fed, they were showered, they were offered haircuts and any other services that they were needed, correct?
Yeah, not only that, they all signed consent forms.
Yes, and you misled them into signing these things. On false pretenses.
To go, and then the vendor that is doing this for Florida provided them with a packet that had a map of Martha's Vineyard. It had the numbers for different services on Martha's Vineyard, and then it had numbers for the overall agencies in Massachusetts.
Right, but like, what if these people were asylum seekers, who had hearings, my dude? None of them could speak English, so they couldn't even read that shit. Yeah, like, even if they had, like, translators, the whole point was that the premise of what they were being offered was false. It was under false pretenses. Even if they had, like, translators or even if they understood it, it doesn't matter because they were misled. They were lied to.
Involving immigration and refugees. So it was clearly voluntary, and all the other nonsense you're hearing is just not true. And why wouldn't they want to go given where they were? They were in really, really bad shape, and they got to be cleaned up, everything treated well, and then put in a situation. Because, Sean, there are jobs available in Martha's Vineyard. There is lodging available in Martha's Vineyard. Had they lived up to what they build themselves at as a sanctuary jurisdiction, they could have absorbed those people without a problem. But here's the thing.
Well, the problem is that there's a fucking process to this shit, my dude. And these people were in the middle of said process. Like, for all the fucking rhetoric that conservatives talk about, like, well, you know, they should come in legally and they should go through the process. Well, these dudes had hearings, and now you just fudge that up. They had no idea what was on those forms. They signed beyond what they were told. Yep. And like I said, even if they did, it doesn't matter. It was under false, like, they were misled.
They said
either
they
way.
didn't have housing. They said they couldn't accommodate. Like, let's just say that's true for a minute. Well, what does that mean for these poor towns in Texas? What does it mean for these other places across the country?
It means it's none of your fucking business, dude. Last time I checked, you were the governor of Florida.
Country that are seeing influx. What does it mean to these small towns that Biden has dumped so many people in? And so I think what we've been able to do is show that this border is a disaster. Biden has failed on this as much or more than on any other policy. And now people are talking about it. And we want solutions as Americans. We want to make sure that Trump's policies of remain in Mexico can be reinstituted.
But it was found unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. Unless you don't care about that, which they... Okay. Oh, man.
So we can get control over what's going on down there.
You know, Governor, it's kind of hard to fathom. 19 months ago, you're right, our borders were secure. We had to stay in Mexico.
No, it was the same. Imagine using humans as a game for politics, just shipping them to places you don't like a weapon. Yeah, because these people fundamentally just don't care. The only thing that they understand is power. That's what they want. Next time DeSantis will trick them into signing forms that he can send them to Epstein's. Oh God, stop it.
We eliminated catch and release. Now we have process release. Give a free.
Damn, now we have like process release, you know, where like they have to go through, the due process. Damn, what a shame.
You get preferential treatment. You don't get a COVID vaccine mandate. And then you get free transportation to the state of your choice. This is madness. We had our borders controlled. We had 1.4% inflation, not 8.5%.
Inflation has nothing. This is a red herring. My guy, my brother in Christ, you are too old to be pivoting this hard. Okay? You are literally too old to be pivoting this hard. I hope like Sean Hannity has like some good fucking health insurance, because that pivot should concern anybody who just listened to that. Holy shit. No human being should be pivoting this hard. Okay, especially at that age. Relax.
We didn't have, we're now paying double the amount for a gallon of gasoline. We didn't have that problem. We wouldn't have had a disaster in Afghanistan.
Damn, I wonder what could have happened during this time that would have caused such things. Yep, it just automatically must be Brandon's fault, I guess. He's gonna break something. Yeah, I'm genuinely concerned. I hope he has health insurance. Pivoting that hard should just... Damn.
All of this has happened in 19 months. What do you see as the answer beyond 50 days from now when Americans go to the voting booth and you're up for re-election?
Well, Sean, I think we should point out, they accuse the governors of Arizona, Texas, and me of political stunts in terms of dealing with illegal immigration.
They are.
But the biggest stunt was Biden coming into office and reversing Trump's policies, not because Trump's policies weren't working.
He reversed like a couple of them. Okay, relax. He like reversed the Remain in Mexico stuff because it was found to be unconstitutional. Hold on, before I start talking like a lot of smack. Yeah, so it was ended by the Biden administration. The But timing had been in doubt since the Supreme Court ruled on June 30th that the Biden administration could end the Remain in Mexico policy. Homeland Security officials have largely been silent, saying they're waiting for the court to certify this ruling and for a Trump-appointed judge, Matthew Kess, whatever his name is, to then lift this injunction. The Supreme Court certified its ruling last week. So it was at the behest of the Supreme Court. It was found unconstitutional. Next.
He reversed them because he wanted to virtue signal to his base, and he wanted to show that.
Yeah, so I guess the like ultra conservative Supreme Court is like also virtue signaling.
He thought Donald Trump was bad, and that's why he reversed it. And he reversed it knowing what would end up happening. And so he has pulled the biggest political stunt. Look, I think people need to press the case on this in the midterms. We know.
I think I couldn't agree more. I think the way this guy has like decided to bill himself, it's just absolutely ludicrous. And I think that he demonstrates himself with his own words as to why these people should never, ever, 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 ever be anywhere near power. I thought your brain was melting or glitch. Oh, well, I'm less smart for listening to this guy.
Know the inflation, the economy, as you said, is going to be a big issue.
The title of this video is responding to the criminal investigations. My guy, where is this? We're 4 minutes and 50 seconds in.
Crime's going to be a huge issue, but this immigration and border,
that never really panned out like in the statistics about like rising crime. That may be true with like some areas, especially like obviously like cities. I don't know if that's like a broad, correct statistic.
I think is now a front burner issue. And I think this is one where Republicans have the advantage without question. So run on it. And then if we do get majorities in the Congress, Sean, they need to do something with that power to hold Biden accountable on this issue.
I think borders, I think energy, I think the economy, I think lower taxes, you're right, law and order, parental rights and education.
You don't believe in any of these things, though. Like, you only believe in law and order when it suits you, and then discard it when it doesn't. Like, are you going to tell the Supreme Court that, like, just nah, dude? Even though they certified this ruling against the Remain in Mexico policy? Like, where's law and order then? That's right, truth doesn't matter, only winning. Yeah, it blows my mind that a governor from one state took people from a second state and then took them to a third state on a private charter that we have yet to know, it's, to my understanding, who the fuck paid for that? By the way, because that's, I would argue, a very important question. Who paid for these things?
All of this is on the ballot in 50 days, and I hope the American people see this for what it is. There's a part of me that doesn't really want to ask you this question because I don't think Gavin Newsom is particularly bright, and every time he deals with you, he comes out on the wrong.
Every accusation is a confession, folks. Every accusation is a confession. I think it was on Florida tax dollars. Hey, Floridians! Boom! Floridians, do you think that was acceptable? Do you think that stunt was worth the tax dollars? Remember, that was supposed to be the party of fiscal responsibility, the party of small government, right? That's weird.
End of it, but I'll ask anyway. I would actually love to see him explain why he shut down California and they couldn't go out to eat, but he went out to eat. He let his kids have
Again, this is a pivot, a whataboutism. What does this have to do with anything? Like, I think the actual time spent on talking about the topic of the whole Martha Vineyard thing has been like less than a minute.
School education. Every other kid that didn't have a private school education, they were forced to
these are like
study
April,
remote.
April 2020 talking points.
Him to explain his 13.5% state income tax to your 0%, and his sanctuary state law breaking to your maintaining the law and order. And I don't know what he meant by the kidnapping comment. Maybe you can tell me what that meant, because I have no clue.
Well, Sean, we've had an influx of people from California, and they're moving because they're dissatisfied with what's gone on over there. I think that the only issue, you know, anytime you're there, you got to worry about all the different things with crime and the homelessness. You also got to worry about, could they even keep the lights on for some type of an event? I mean, they seem to have a lot of problems with that as well.
Not really. Not really. California did pretty good this time. So I don't know what the heck he's talking about. Yeah, Texas does, though. That's true. Again, it's 6 minutes and 28 seconds in. Where is the response to the criminal investigation?
So we're happy with what we're doing in Florida. And I think at the end of the day, Sean, people can politically preen. They can say all this stuff. But look how people behave. Look how people vote with their feet. And since I've been governor, it's been unmistakable. People look for freedom, and we're the first place they look. And people have come not just from New York, New Jersey, as you know, that's always happened, not just from the Midwest, which has always happened, even from the Pacific coast of this country, going all the way across North America to be able to live in the state of Florida. And we're proud that we've been that symbol for many people.
Governor, for the first time in California's history, they've had a net decrease in population. How many new people are moving to Florida on a daily basis? Do you have the exact number?
What does this have to
I
do
don't know
with
the
anything?
exact, but we've led the nation in net in-migration. And
Yeah, the
on
Pacific
net,
coast
we've
has been on
had
fire for
over
quite a bit. Yep.
225,000 the last 2 years.
PG&E has its own
probably
problems.
on
True.
average. And we've had more
True.
wealth move into Florida than has ever moved into an individual state over a similar period of time in American history, even adjusted for inflation. And oh, by the way, Sean, who's losing the most population and the most wealth? California, New York, Illinois.
Very well said. All right, so you're out on the campaign trail. Your race is pivotal for Republicans. So is Marco Rubio's race. How do you feel your races are going? And I know you've also been doing some campaigning around the country. What are the arguments that you would make? To me, it's very simple. The list that we just went over, if you run on, are you better off than you were 19 months ago in terms of your energy prices, in terms of border security? Are you better off with a state that closed down for COVID? You had kids in school in August of 2020. What are the arguments you think people should be making, Republicans should be making?
They should actually stop being spineless cowards and actually say what they want.
Well, first here in Florida, you know, people are fired up. I mean, our voters want to come out. I think we're going to have a record-setting turnout, particularly amongst Republicans. And so we're looking forward to that. As you mentioned, I'm running, Senator Rubio. We also have congressional races, legislative races, school board. So this is really, really important. And we're working really hard. I think we're going to do really
That's
well.
incredibly important. You see what he said there? School board. School board.
But I think you nailed it. Across the country, prosecute the case against what Biden has done. Things were cheaper before he was president. Your gas was cheaper.
I wonder what could happen. I'm just going to totally ignore the circumstances around these talking points. Convenient. I'm just going to totally ignore exactly what caused these things to be. I'm just going to blame Biden, I guess.
Our country was safer before he was president.
No
Hit him
idea what
on
that
the
even
crime,
means.
And obviously, our border was more secured. And yes, I do think
Not
you
really.
pointed out the parents' rights and the education. These are huge issues because I think the left has gone so radical on this. They want to use the schools to indoctrinate our kids.
Right. Every accusation is a confession. He literally just said the importance of taking over school boards because he knows. He knows that the reality is that he wants to be the one to have command over that. The conservatives do.
And that's not what the American people want. They think schools should be to educate kids, not to indoctrinate them. So hold them accountable on things like critical race theory, gender ideology. None of that stuff is appropriate in the schools, but almost every single Democrat will have to say that they support that because that's what the far left of their base wants to see.
Fascinating. No Democrat wants to be seen with Joe Biden either when he goes to campaign. I didn't finish the question. Last question. You have any interest in debating good old Gavin Newsom on his record taxes, income taxes?
Well, like I said, Sean, I don't know if they can reliably keep the power on. So you go all the way up there and have a debate, and then what ends up happening, if they can't keep the
That's not quite true, but okay.
lights on. So, we're happy with what we're doing. What I do, though, Sean, my actions speak louder than my words. There's certain people that
Wait, so you wouldn't debate him? You could just say you're a coward and say you don't want to debate him.
and do that. I understand. We get things done in Florida.
My favorite line is, whatever you do, don't charge your electric vehicle during these hours. So you have to park it for this amount of time. That was my favorite. Governor, thank you for being with us. We appreciate it. Hey, Sean Hannity.
Jesus Christ. I still never got the response to the criminal investigations. I literally just wasted 10 minutes of my life that I'm never getting back, and I'm less smarter for it. Thank you. Jesus Christ. Well, I was hoping to end on some kind of thing to respond to, but there was literally nothing to respond there. Regarding the situation from Martha's Vineyard, there's nothing to respond to. That's right. Unbelievable. All right, well, thanks, Fox News, for wasting my time. It reminds me of that Ben Shapiro. Video that we watched and then never got the answer to the title of the video. It had nothing to do with anything. Perhaps we can just unite around treating humans humanely. Well, if only. It's like that part on Billy Madison when the GameSpot host tells Billy that his answer was complete gibberish. True. Well, I was hoping to end on something to respond to regarding regarding this investigation that has been opened by the sheriff in that county in Texas. But I guess we're gonna run away from that answer because we don't want to talk about that apparently. Yeah, may God have mercy on your soul. I award you no points. Wait, hold on. Hold on. I guess we should end on a meme, right?
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
There we go. Thank you, Governor DeSantis. No, the meme perfectly fits. The meme perfectly fits. I need to have that on my little soundboard thing. I'm gonna save this. I need to have this save or watch later. No. Yes, watch later. Okay. There we go. I need to do that, record it, and have it as a little pop-up video or something on my stream deck. All right, folks. It is just about 7:30. Folks, if you enjoyed this content, we are 7 followers away from 2,000 followers. If you enjoy the content on your way out, don't forget to hit the follow button. It really does help us out. Join us on the YouTubes, as I see some folks did. Thank you so much, Walter, for stopping by. Appreciate that. If you want to keep up with the channel, join the Discord. All right, I always post any updates, and you can get a sneak peek at what articles we're covering that day. Laters, thank you so much, Mayhem Hippie. I appreciate that, and I appreciate the support. Folks, thank you so much. You guys are what makes this channel grow. Thank you to Bipedal Meatbag, Maple Leaf Dragon for the biddies, Zeo Duke, Mayhem Hippie for the subs, Alio with the biddies. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the support. Thank you to all the follows and whatnot. You guys are what makes us grow. Make sure that you spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to be for the news and politics. Join us Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Join us on Sundays for Sunday Fun Days around noon Eastern Time with the co-host. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love you all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you. Appreciate it. See ya. Fun fact, by the way, that was a band that I was a part of, by the way. Alright, folks, we're heading out to left flank bets. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.